On November 11, 2000, hundreds of skiers and snowboarders gathered in the picturesque town of Kaprun, Austria, eager to enjoy the slopes of the Kitzsteinhorn Glacier. The day was bright and cold, perfect for winter sports. Among the skiers were families, tourists, and professionals, all boarding the Gletscherbahn 2, an underground funicular railway designed to transport passengers through a tunnel to the summit station. The funicular railway, a marvel of engineering, consisted of two trains running on parallel tracks. On that fateful day, 161 passengers boarded one of the trains at the base station, expecting a routine and scenic ascent to the glacier. What awaited them, however, was a tragedy that would claim 155 lives and leave an indelible scar on the history of alpine tourism.
Shortly after the train began its journey through the 3.3-kilometer-long tunnel, disaster struck. At 9:02 a.m., a fire broke out in an electric heater located in the operator's cabin at the rear of the train. The heater, not intended for use in such a setting, had been improperly installed, leading to an electrical fault. Flames quickly spread, fueled by flammable materials in the train's interior, including hydraulic fluid. The tunnel, originally designed for efficiency and convenience, became a death trap. With no ventilation system to disperse the smoke and limited emergency exits, the fire rapidly filled the tunnel with toxic fumes and intense heat. Most of the passengers, unaware of the severity of the situation, remained inside the train, where the deadly combination of carbon monoxide and heat overcame them within minutes. Only 12 passengers managed to escape, fleeing downward toward the base station through a small maintenance path. Tragically, others who attempted to ascend toward the summit station were overcome by the smoke, as the rising fumes made the upper part of the tunnel even more dangerous.
Rescue efforts were severely hampered by the remote location and the intensity of the fire, which burned for hours and reached temperatures of over 1,000 degrees Celsius. Firefighters and emergency personnel faced near impossible conditions, and when they finally reached the train, they were met with a scene of devastation. The death toll included 155 people, many of whom were charred beyond recognition. Only 8 survivors escaped the train itself, while the remaining 4 survivors had been near the base station. The scale of the disaster sent shockwaves through Austria and the world. Families and friends of the victims mourned the loss of loved ones, and questions began to emerge about how such a tragedy could occur in a facility designed for safety and recreation.
The investigation into the Kaprun disaster revealed a series of critical failures and oversights. The improperly installed electric heater was identified as the initial cause of the fire. The heater, designed for household use, had been retrofitted into the train without adequate testing or consideration of safety standards. Further scrutiny uncovered systemic failures in the design and operation of the funicular railway. The tunnel lacked proper ventilation, fire suppression systems, and escape routes, making it nearly impossible for passengers to survive once the fire broke out. The use of flammable materials in the train's construction compounded the disaster. In 2004, criminal charges were brought against 16 individuals, including engineers, operators, and inspectors, but all were eventually acquitted. The court ruled that responsibility for the disaster was too diffuse to attribute culpability to specific individuals. This outcome left many of the victims' families frustrated and seeking justice through civil lawsuits.
The Kaprun disaster prompted sweeping changes in safety regulations for funicular railways and similar facilities worldwide. New standards mandated fire-resistant materials, better ventilation systems, emergency lighting, and accessible escape routes. The tragedy also led to stricter oversight of engineering practices and the installation of fire suppression systems in tunnels. In Austria, the incident deeply affected public trust in safety standards for recreational facilities, spurring reforms and improvements across the industry. The Gletscherbahn Railway was permanently closed, and a memorial was erected at the site to honor the victims.
The Kaprun disaster remains one of the deadliest accidents in alpine tourism history, a sobering reminder of the importance of safety in even the most seemingly routine activities. The tragedy reshaped public awareness and industry practices, ensuring that such a disaster would not be repeated. For the families and survivors, the memories of that day are etched in their hearts, a painful reminder of lives lost too soon. The legacy of the Kaprun disaster is not only in the changes it inspired, but also in the enduring commitment to ensuring safety in the face of human error and oversight.
The Kaprun disaster serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the profound responsibility of those who design and operate public facilities. It is a story of tragedy, loss, and the resilience of the human spirit, with lessons that continue to shape safety standards and practices in the modern world.